We had played well against Australia in parts of the game the first time around and identified some even better if items to work on. We've been able to practice these in the Japan game and entered the final playing well. The key to our success was the way we were controlling possession with short, sharp, intelligent passes even under pressure. We would need to continue this in the final. Against Japan, we had spread the workload, so hopefully everyone would recover well. A hamstring injury to Roger was not helpful. After the Japanese game, we had 4 players needing physio attention. USA Physio agreed to do post-Japan, pre-final and final physio work for us. From the first game, we expected Australia to press our left side, both in defence and attack. The key to success would be getting the W set up early, keeping our red zone shape, and at least one of the central defenders marking, enabling the rest of the team to remain higher. Friday the 20th of October debrief in the evening, the focus was on the lessons from the previous Australian game. 38 snapshots from that game were distributed to enable us to discuss even better examples. Unfortunately, not all phones have them in the same order. The first picture was used to emphasise the need to play in a tight 3x3 formation in possession, and the second one to make sure we gave the first pass even in tight situations. The third was an example of us not sticking to the 3x3 shape we agreed on. At one stage we have 5 men on a line. The fourth looked at the type of press they used in our hitouts. Disguised hitouts would be important, and we needed to resist the urge to make the pass they want us to make. The fifth picture was us defending a free just outside our circle. Here we are all defending the circle inside the circle. The inside forwards need to push out and the back 3 need to mark the high man. It also showed several other defenders facing the ball and not creating a classic triangle. The Australian runners were being offered first touch on a pass, which would drive them onto our weaker reverse side. We discussed how a small variation in body shape enabled the defender to see both man and ball, and also to be able to get to the ball first, or at least prevent the attacker from getting onto the reverse side. The sixth picture showed 6v6 in about 1/20th of the pitch. We had previously discussed the importance of playing away from the traffic. The ball was forced into the traffic and was almost picked off. It should have gone back and around. At this stage, one or two of the players said they were tired and were struggling to concentrate. So, as that was the general feeling, we agreed to make a couple more observations and call it a day. The next picture showed all our players compressed into our own 23. We have no pressure on the ball and no W. We need to get the front 3 up higher, pressing the ball with the midfielders plugging the gap. The final picture was taken at the end of a minute, in which we kept the ball, made 14 passes, carried the ball from just outside our circle to the edge of their 23. We need to get this passage of play on our phones so that everyone can see what we're capable of. Saturday the 29th of October, early match briefing. Okay, we're here now. We can stop dreaming. Make sure you take the time to savour the moment, but please make sure that in the final hour before the game you're fully focused. You probably want to take photographs of the moment. There will be official ones, but if you want others, then make sure someone else is doing it for you. We will adopt the 3x3 15-metre formation and use the W formation to defend in their half. All the evidence shows that getting set up quickly significantly improves the outcomes. Remember, we're looking to force them to give it to our midfield. We're not off on a solo trying to make a Hollywood tackle. It is key to the red zone defence that the designated deep defenders are picking up the right men. We must not drag back midfielders into the deep defenders' marking roles. The best way to stop the long diagonal forward balls is for the forward line to remain high with the right line shape. If we drop, then we merely invite the very ball we don't want. A strong spine is key. It is important that the central players dominate the centre of the park. Players on either side need to work in their own channels. Rely on your teammates to do their job. Keep the short, sharp passes going and don't give up in the process. Our headouts will be important. We need everyone in the tight 3-by-3 formation available for the pass and looking to support the pass and the one after the next one. Don't give the pass they want. Use disguise. Vary the speed of setup. Pre-match briefing. There's an hour to go, so the mobile phones are off, and it's important that everyone gets totally focused. We have been over everything. We're playing well when we stick to a short passing game. We must try to keep our 3-by-3 50-metre apart game plan, get the W set up early, and stick to the process. They had a variety of short corners in the first game. This included moving the ball to their left and deflections on their right. The defence will just have to decide when they see the setup, but let's start with a normal 2-by-2. On our attacking short corners, make sure we have a huddle and ensure everyone affirms what they're doing. We must make sure we have the right setup. There's not much more to say. One final hurdle to overcome. There is no tomorrow, so don't leave anything out there. Finally, enjoy it. It is, after all, a World Cup final. We're off. So Australia on the ball. Attempt to force it early. Richard is perfectly placed. This is good. We've got the ball. Opportunity for everyone to get a good early touch. Keeping the ball well. Keith tries to lay it through. Just a bit too much on that, but a good area to keep the pressure on. I have no idea why we're dropping off, as we want to trap the ball up in that left corner. It's not that we're not pressing, we haven't got the W shape correct, as Henry does not cut the pitch, and so they get the outlet ball. I can't believe we did that. They're now charging down their right. This is what we didn't want to happen. Poor decision here from the Australians, gives us back possession. Okay, plenty of time just to regroup. Let's get the ball and make sure everybody's got a good couple of early touches so that they feel as if they're into the game. Okay, ball comes across, getting it onto our right. And he's under a bit of pressure here. Ball into Carl would have been a much better pass, as he's completely free in the middle. Okay. He tries a long pass, but it's picked by the Australian. The Australians are going to pass the ball back and around. We've got a reasonable W shape, so they're not going anywhere. Back again, Henry's just a little deeper than he should be. However, it's not too bad. Comes across to the left. They try and fire it up into the corner, and it's mishandled. Good chance to get set up here. Eddie's just moving too wide. He needs to stay in that 15-15. A good pick up from Andy. Dropped it to Carl. Unfortunately, Carl tries to force it into a player moving away, and the Australians have it back. Again, they drop it back and around, out onto the right, up into the corner, but we've got 4 men back within 50 metres of them. All 3 of our midfielders are back with 4 men around the ball, but nobody's really taking responsibility for the top of the D channel. Ball comes to the top of the D channel. Well back by Carl, and unfortunately he just can't keep it out of the net. We had plenty of players back, but there's little communication. It was also disappointing that we were all close enough to him that nobody was able to block the pass when he hit it. And we had 4 men watching the ball. Nobody was covering the top of the D. Just the start the Australians would have wanted, not the start we were looking for. Again, we've got the ball. Just need to keep a hold of it now. Just calm things down, get ourselves back into the game. This is good. We've had the ball for a considerable period of time now. We haven't really moved their defence around, but a little bit of a gap's appeared. And Keith's off on one of his dribbles here. Oh, unfortunately, he just loses control at the end. Okay, it's a good chance to get the W up. Henry's in a good position now, but he drops too deep. If he stays at the top of the D, then they wouldn't be able to work this outlet ball. They'd have to do something different. Charlie also needs to step up as well. We're too deep and there's no pressure. So forward line's just got to keep working back and across. They're probably a little bit too narrow, which means they've got a lot of running to do. If they just stay 15 metres apart, they'll be fine. Henry and Charlie not too badly positioned, but Henry starts to drop. Charlie drops, and the very thing they're worried about happens. Australia start to move forward here. Stuart Egner's completely the wrong place. He needs to be between the ball and the top of the D. He's pulled out. They've two men on the far post and they hit it wide. Neither of our central defenders are in the picture there. Andy was ball watching. Everything was wrong with that move. Got to focus. Eddie not really ready for that. He's now a bit isolated. There's no outside lead, so he forces it into... he now needs to get himself round the ball, but instead of which he goes for the high-risk reverse side, and it's an easy short corner decision. So the Australians are going to take this one from their right for a change. It doesn't really change that much from a defensive point of view, except that the switch is likely to be towards Carl's post, so he just needs to keep an eye on a man coming in there. Bit of a bubbly push out. Great shot, well saved and well cleared. Great working back from Budgie. Oh, line ball's not on, so he does the right thing and keeps possession, wins are free. Great lead from Richard here. Ball comes across the left side, opened up. I'd much happier if Eddie was in much narrower in the B zone, and then he could work a 1-2 with Charlie, instead of which he's going to play the ball up into the corner, and this is exactly what the Australians would want. It gives them plenty of time to work back. Ball comes into Carl. He really should drive forward quickly there, but he doesn't. He chooses to play the pass out to Keith. Keith draws a man in. The gap opens again. Again, Carl should go, but he makes a long attempted pass, and it's easily picked off by the Australian. Great working across from Budgie, but why does he concede such a soft free when he's got the player under pressure? Good W formation again. They try the aerial. Martin very unlucky not to get that. Right, Eddie needs to be heading for the top of the circle now to help out. He's the free man as Stuart is marking, but he's very, very slow. There's complete lack of urgency to get into position. Luckily enough, Keith holds it up, but gives away a free. Okay, we're reasonably well positioned at this point of time. Charlie should be staying to mark top D. Stuart realises that and asks them to go back. The Australians rotate here, but we really don't rotate with them. Richard's now watching the ball, not watching his man. Somebody should be calling him to come back 5. Carl picks it up, gives it to Andy. Really, really unusual from Andy there. Normally you'd expect him just to control that ball and win a free. Obviously a little bit of pressure building up there. Oh, and there's no harm done there, as a miscommunication from the Australians gives us the ball back. Stewart is supporting the head out here, but there's no sign of Eddie. Eddie's far too wide, he's isolated, so when the ball goes across to him, all of a sudden he's being closed down very quickly. Everyone has to move miles to support, and we're caught in a really tight area. Turnover ball, but lucky enough they gift it straight back to us. Richard, longish pass to Keith. First touch takes it a bit wide. Into Stewart. Looks like a bit of backstick there, but unfortunate not to get a free. But well, good play from Keith and Andy, win the ball back for us. Good aerial from Keith, finds Budgie. Oh, free against Australians, not been 5. Budgie gives it quickly, Henry's on, he doesn't see that. Again, he's his head down. Charlie's free, doesn't give it either. Wins a free, but by now the Australians are all back. Richard knows what he wants to do here. Unfortunately, just underpasses it, and the Australian retreating is able to pick up the ball. Oh, unlucky from Andy there. Almost gets the ball back. Good harrying, but the Australians come away with it. Good closing down by Richards, and an interesting pass from the Australian that gives us a ball up in their 23. So we've got a good chance to attack here. The Australians are not coming back in big numbers, so we really need to get the ball out of this area. I went across. Good run from Richard, and a long corner. Okay, we can see where all the Australians are. We've really got to get this ball away from where all their players are. Now we push it back up into the corner. Now we're outnumbered. Oh, they really should have taken that. We do extremely well to get the ball. Now we're going the way we want to go. Charlie's run away from Carl instead of going to him, and that's meant that the ball's gone the whole way back into our own half. Ball to Keith. Keith attempts one touch. Budgie's running away from it, and again it's an easy ball for the Australians. And Budgie, umpire's very unhappy about that. We really need to learn how to put defenders under pressure without giving cheap frees. Initially, Fergus and Henry were perfectly positioned, but they both retreat. Fergus should have stayed where he were and pushed Henry up the pitch. Instead of retreating to defend something like this, we should be aggressive and making sure the ball doesn't get here in the first place. All right. We want to pass around. Fergus should be ready, but he hasn't got his feet in the right place to make the pass. Takes him an extra couple of seconds. Umpire's not happy about something going on, and it's a retake. Now it's much more difficult. Fergus is trying to find an opening here. Good lead from Charlie, and we get a wee bit of luck, but we get a free. Great thinking from Richard. Keith's coming down the D channel. That's where we wanted to be running. Into the circle. Reverse stick. No. Oh, and a bad tackle. And it's a short corner. That's much better play. Good to see the huddle. I hope everyone has remembered what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, so going to Richard here. It should be Budgie in on the keeper's pads and Stewarty to the left. A Budgie doesn't go in. Rebound off the keeper's pads would have been a simple opportunity. instead of which the ball comes out. Great play from Fergus, right place. Charlie needs to put this left. No, he doesn't want to put it back into there. And the Australians get it very cheaply again. Attempted long hit, but that's going to beat the forward, and it's going to be our ball. Again, we're far too far apart at the back for this hit out. Everything's so slow. By the time we actually get the ball across to Eddie, he's on the touchline, which isn't his friend. He's isolated. He's nowhere to go. All gets a bit scrappy and a bit frantic here. Win a free. Okay, Eddie looking to get this ball across to the left here. There's the gap. Oh, Carl's first touch isn't what it should be. This should go back to Stewart and around, instead of which he pushed it back to Eddie, who's trapped. This has to go back and around now. And it doesn't. And eventually we just about retain possession. Okay, Billy Dow's coming on here. Hopefully he knows that the ball should be back and around. Yep, here we go. That's a really poor pass from Stewart, which puts Keith under pressure. Passes aren't on now. Okay. Keith tries to force the pass, and we are extremely lucky to retain possession. Fergus does really well with 3 men around him here. He gets out of the gap. That's good. Oh, something very odd happened there off the ball. And the ball's knocked off the pitch. It looks like Stewarty Switzer on the ground there. And what happened here? Oh, that doesn't look that clever on the replay. I'm not sure that was that clever. I'm not quite sure why the Australian decided to run into him. Let's hope he's all right. I'm not sure how we're going to start here, but as we push the ball off the pitch, the umpires have decided it's our ball. So we're back underway again. Passing around, Keith's got it again. Tries to beat the Australian. Oh, little stick swing from the Australian there. That was a little bit unnecessary. Keith's not happy about that. The umpires need to keep a watch. This could get very feisty. Good, we're making the Australians work, keeping the ball. Good lead from Keith. Okay, Keith tries another long ball. Australians get there first. And the ball goes off the far end. The Australians are moving quicker than us, so they're forwards to pick up the long balls, especially in congested areas. So we really do need to be keeping it short. Charlie's just run away from the ball. He needs to be close to the ball. Now Keith's got it, and he doesn't have Charlie as an option. He's too far away, so Richard is the ball that's on. Back into Stewarty. Poor first touch from Stewarty. Puts it under pressure. Billy recovers it well for him. Gets it out to Fergus. Fergus does well. Gets the ball in the corner. Keeps the ball and gets us a push. Well done, Fergus. Okay. The ball to Carl. The lead eye's got it. Unfortunately, this time No deflection, but that's looks like it's going to be the end of the quarter. Yep. So again, where both sides show that they're capable of holding onto the ball and working opportunities, Australia have had more unforced errors than Ireland. Although both sides have one short corner, Australia have had 3 circle penetrations to Ireland's 1, and of course they have the all-important first goal. Australia start the second quarter. Our left forward is still sitting too deep, which is allowing the easy outlet ball. Good challenge from Billy Dowie. Unlucky not to get the interception. A really cheap turnover ball, which gives us back possession, and we get a chance to move it around. Plenty of space over here for Keith. Tear it up. Doesn't quite come off, but we retain possession. It's our free hit, but Australia does have a lot of cover back. Great play from Richards to move the ball away from the traffic into the midfield space. As Carr goes to pass this, for some reason Billy Dowie stops. All Billy had to do was keep moving forward, and we'd had a 2v1 against a covering player. Everyone now needs to be moving back to give us a 3x3 shape. Budgie and Stewart work back, but there's no sign of Billy P. And he's given them very easy passing options. Billy eventually tucks in, and our better shape forces them wide into the E channel on the left, which is exactly where we want them to go. And a poor pass from Australians. Carl intercepts easily. The retreating Australian deliberately interferes with a quick pass. That should be a card. We get the ball moving in, but we're spread out across all 5 zones. So finding passes is much more difficult. Keith is much closer to the line this time, so it's much easier to close him down. Our ball. Keith goes out, our paramedics and bring it back. Errol goes up this time, but it's not taken, and Australia have the ball back. Again, Budgie and Sturdy track back, but we only have 2 of our forwards goal side. So they've got plenty of space to play the ball. Our guys are having to work really hard, and they've got loads of options. Eventually Billy works his way back in and puts pressure on the ball. Stewart gets into a good position, which forces them to throw the aerial over the top. It's a slow aerial, which gives us plenty of time to get our shape. Excellent work from Stewart getting across to close down the options. Charlie's in the right place and intercepts. The Australians break down play again, and again no further action. Good lead from Charlie here, but he doesn't keep the ball in contact with the stick, and it is stolen. We're so spread out that when we lose possession, there are massive gaps for them to play into. Fergus needs to be in 10, Billy P needs to be no more than 15 from Fergus. Fergus is covered back 30 metres, but there's still no sign of Billy. Fergus is covering an angle ball, and Billy Dowie is leaving the wide man as agreed. Carl's facing the sidelines and not near the ball as man. He's very lucky not to concede a free. Richard was in the right place there and comes away with the ball. Charlie has moved out to support nicely. Not sure why he did that, as we've just handed the ball back to Australia. Ball's been off the pitch for about 18 seconds, but no one's sorting out our shape. Carl's not near an Australian player. Fergus is sitting too deep. Billy P and Budgie should be getting ready to head across the pitch if the ball's played backwards and round. Fergus should be anticipating stepping into the gap between them. We're too slow to react. Charlie comes far too across, leaving a player in the high D channel. We end up with 6v3. Stuart Edner is already too far out, doesn't react. He's on the opposite side of the circle. Charlie should recognise the danger and stop that ball, but he doesn't, and we're in real trouble. Stuart had moved to the ball, he'd been there much quicker. We know it's against us, we've just switched off. Charlie's is back to the play. Initially we're outnumbered. Stuart Edner's having to mark. As the ball breaks, we're now 3v3. Richard needs to become the sweeper when Stuart goes out to mark. We have 9 back, we should be okay. As soon as Stuart sucked out, Richard needs to get into the middle of the circle here. He doesn't. Ferguson and Billy D are marking, but Stuart Switzer is too far wide there. Ball comes in. Carl can't react. Billy Dowie's left his man in the goal, and Fergus, who was on the post, runs away from it as the shot comes in. That was just a spell where we were just completely switched off. There doesn't seem to be much communication going on between the back players. What we need to do now is to keep the ball for a while to enable us to regroup. We are a bit slow at moving the ball on. We just need to be much sharper. It looks very pretty, but it's no real pace at all. I've got it back again. Good lead from Billy here, and we've kept the ball nicely. Should have gone out to Fergus early, doesn't. Turns back round, back again. I'm not sure what Stuart's trying to attempt here, passing it through the man, but he's looking at lucky break. It comes to Carl. Charlie tries to beat his man here, doesn't make it. And again, we're very slow to react to the turnover ball. We talked about the need to work hard initially and get back goal side. Billy Pollock steps the wrong side of the ball here, leaves the gap exactly where we don't want it to go. We're only saved there by an unforced error. Okay, so we just need to play patiently, wait for the opportunity. That's good. Stem needs a bit more pace in that pass, but Keith is in. He's got a good whoop. Good play. We're off now. And he just holds it up, doesn't look up and gives it to the Australian. Good work by Andy getting back in, but he's lifted the ball up into the Australian. Long ball out, but luckily enough the Australian forward can't control the ball. Well, back from Fergus. Things are a bit tight on this side. Oops, we can't see what's going on now, but the umpire is blowing and is brandishing a card. So I assume Fergus has been fouled. They're a man down. We just need to keep the ball. No idea why we're forcing that pass. The inside pass to Andy was a simple option. Now we're all spread out again. The Australians are able to bring it out. No sign of our covering winger. No pressure on the ball. Aerial allowed. Billy goes for it and misses it. Stuarty ends up facing his own goal line here. Ford cuts back inside. We've got plenty of cover. Stuarty seems to be okay. Oops. Mistimes the tackle. Short corner. Oh, it looks like Stuart's decided to say something to the umpire. And now it's 10 aside. And their player will be due back, probably at the end of the corner. Eddie steps in for Stuart Egner. And they're taking this corner from the normal side. Okay. Looks like the Australians are just going to go for a straight shot here. Yep. If it gets a deflection, it's a long corner. So we're without Stuarty. I'm not sure what we're doing defensively here. Neither Billy, Dowie nor Eddie have a man. Not sure. Eddie looks like he's playing sweeper in Stuarty Egner's absence. Good front marking from Carl. Picks up the ball. Gets it to Billy Dowie. We're a player down, so we need to hold on to this ball. Buddy just needs to, when it's a free, gets up, oh, I'm not sure what that is. Now we've given them back the ball, so with the ball down and a man down, Henry needs to get himself in the right place. He's too narrow again. Off he goes. He can't dive in and not make the tackle. Carl goes to the ball, and there's no sign of our sweeper. Oh my goodness. Looks like we've all forgotten Stuart's off. Nobody's stayed in the sweeper role. We had a series of poor decision making, and Australia punishes us. And he's got the ball, he's looking for some options. We're a bit spread out. Gives it to Fergus. Eddie's far too far away from Fergus to get the pass, so Fergus elects to drive, tries to force the ball, and it's turned over. On the break again. This time Keith gets himself in a good position to take the ball. Another deliberate foul and a deliberate breaking down of play. But again, no additional action from the umpire. Stuart Egner's back on. Unfortunately, he can't find Henry with that pass. Again, the ball's off for like 10 seconds, so we've got a chance to reorganise, get ourselves back in position. We've got 4 Australians in their back line. We're only matching them with 2. Massive gap. We know where this is going. No pressure on the ball carrier again. Aerial. Stuarty comes out to take it when Eddie already has it, and we get a free. Don't know why Eddie is so far behind his midfield player. Good ball to Richard, 1-2 with Keith, and unfortunately the wide pass gets a little deflection and then is mishandled, giving them the ball back. It looks like there's a bit of an aerial bombardment going on, but the Australian can't handle that, so we have to go back. Stuart Egner should really be throwing that ball up for someone else to take, instead of which it takes forever to get it about. The dribbling of the ball gives the Australian a chance to close it down, and Keith gets a real bobbler. Bit of a 50-50 ball, but it's there. Picked up by Fergus, who's clattered, and it's a free, and at last a card for the Australians. Okay, Eddie's far too far away from the play, so by the time he collects the ball, there's little support. They're a player down now, and we're passing the ball up into exactly where they want it to go. Budgie has got to learn to put defenders under pressure without conceding silly free hits. He's taking that from a weak position. He's let them off the hook. And given that they've just had a player sent off, he's very lucky to stay on the pitch for that. Henry's got himself in the right place, but Budgie is far too far towards the left wing and Eddie's far too deep. Great covering from Henry. He gets himself the whole way across the pitch. This enables him to block this, and he's very unlucky with the attempted block. So the ball is going to be off here for 20 seconds. Again, Eddie seems to be playing left back position, even though he's on as a left winger. He needs to come up the pitch into the middle and cut the pitch so that they can't play the ball back and around. That would take two of their players out of the game. Let Budgie and Fergus to deal with the dangerous diagonal ball. However, no pressure, ball into a big space, and now we're all having to run again. Not sure why Brendan doesn't try to take this aerial out, but he does do a reasonable job of standing up the man. But he's got to get closer so that when the ball is like that, he can get a jab in. Good advantage by the umpire as Keith comes away from two Australians. Henry can't quite get to the ball, but the Australian lifts it into him, and we get a free. Ball's turned over there, but great play from Andy, wins it back. Andy drives, looking to get in, comes off an Australian foot, so our free. Henry really nearly takes responsibility for taking this free, but he rolls it back to Keith. And Keith plays a lovely ball, but the umpire reckons that's not from the right place, so we have to take it back. Carl should get a little bit closer to Keith to make this easier, but he is there. Keith gives the ball, not a great first touch, gets the ball off to Fergus, who beats his man and then wins us a short corner. Let's hope everyone remembers their assignments this time. There's a bit of miscommunication here. This ball is destined to go for Stuart Egner, so Budgie needs to stay at the top for the switch with Eddie going in. Oh, but they both go in. Luckily enough, Stuarty gets his shot off. The goalkeeper makes a great reverse stick save. Richard's quick to recognise that they're probably out of shape, so he gets the ball there quickly, sees Henry, lovely wide ball. Henry can't control it. Now he's sort of trapped and isolated in the corner, and he does well to win himself a sideline ball. Not enough pace on this pass, and it's a long pass. By the time Keith gets it, he's under pressure, and the ball's taken off him. The Australians now have a chance to just relieve the pressure. Poor tackle from Henry. No need to take it into contact here, but he does. Keith wins it back. And that's a really clumsy, heavy tackle on Keith driving into the 23. And it's a short corner. And again, no action taken against the Australian for the deliberate breaking down of play, other than the short corner. Some might think that's enough, but they're just consistently breaking down the play and stopping our guys from getting any kind of movement at all. Okay, here we go again. It's coming to the end of the half, so everybody's up. Good chance for Richard. Great save from the keeper. Fortunately lifted up into Keith. And that looks like there might be a little bit of an injury time out here. Interesting just to note that the Australians ran a 3-1 with one challenge in the strike and the other two runners out about 7 yards out each. Okay, guys are discussing what to do with this corner. And we just called in to go for the same again when Keith is up. Keith's not feeling 100% perfect, so he comes out and Budgie goes in to inject. Fergus replaces Budgie at the top. Eddie clearly expecting to reverse stick stop this. Something wrong with the push out, it goes to Sturdy instead. That's why Fergus has gone in and Eddie hasn't. And again, that's another fine stick tape by the keeper. That's half time. So in the first half, we had 3 short corners to their 2, but only 1 circle penetration to their 6. They had 5 attempts on goal and scored 3 of them, whereas we've had 3 without success. The Australians will be pleased it isn't basketball. They've had 12 deliberate breakdown play fouls in the first half and yet only got 2 cards. So the second half starts with a series of passes from us. It's good to get a few touches on the ball to get us going. Now a couple of lazy backward passes. Sturdy's body position shows exactly where he's going to pass this ball. That should have gone to Carl, not into the corner to Roger. And Roger just overpasses the ball. That ball should have gone the opposite way. The Australians had all moved across. The Australians have done little work and we've handled possession exactly where we'd wanted. Sturdy Switzer is far too wide and Fergus is far too deep. As the ball is moved, Sturdy moves to where he should have been and then he jumps inside, given the opportunity for the ball to go outside. Luckily enough, the Australians crash the ball off the end of the pitch. Keith goes to get the ball so Sturdy can get set up, but Sturdy watches Keith instead of what the Australians are doing. They come up with a 5-man press, but a couple of nice passes, and all of a sudden we've got the ball and we're inside their half. And he draws 3 Australians into him. Then pulls away from them, leaving a little channel for Keith to drive into. Heavy tackle there. Keith gets through it. Lovely mazy dribble, just unfortunately behind Budgie, and Billy just doesn't control the ball in the circle. Umpires playing a good advantage here. They've got a chance to counter-attack, but they get turned over under some good pressure from Carl. Good work from Sturdy getting the game moving quickly, but unfortunately, we mishandle the pass and the Australians have the ball back again. The Australian defender reacts far quicker than we do and he's in plenty of space with an easy pass. Roger comes out and closes them down well. That's good. Roger's got the ball. He just needs to hold it there and buy a free. He tries to work it out of the corner and unfortunately they manage to win it back. Andy's got a good covering position in the circle, but for some reason he steps up. Then as the crash ball comes in, it's on his reverse side. Sturdy's a million miles from his man, but lucky enough, Keith sees what's going on. Unfortunately, his clearing pass is picked up by the Australians, and they have the chance to change the angle and play the ball out wide again. Poor work marking at the back allows an easy ball into the corner, but we've got enough pressure there now, and the Australians go back. Another crash ball from the Australians, and Timmy's alert to that. We have 7v4 on their left, and all of a sudden our left wing is playing left back. When the ball goes back, we have no way of pressing the ball. The pass was horrible, but this is a warning shot. Why are we all so far back? We need to get the forward lines up and the defenders marking in the circle. We're just going to have a horrible afternoon if we allow them to do this. Okay, it's a line ball. The Australians do what we didn't do, and they come up and press the ball. We seem to have switched off. Oh no, all of a sudden we realise it's a line ball. Fergus needs to be much closer to the ball, much closer. He needs to be in a much better body shape to take that ball. He moves away from the pass. It's an easy pick for the Australians. Okay. Poor setup here. Billy Pollock's in no position to defend against a runner. Nobody picks up the man coming through. And luckily enough, they all miss the ball and we get it back. We're going through a difficult patch here. We really need to stop the Australians marauding forward. We need to put a series of passes together and keep possession for a while. So we just need to get this to a simple place and just keep the thing going. Oh, unfortunately, we can't even manage 2 passes and we're back under pressure again. Probably not Timmy's finest clearance ever, but good defending here from Keith. Gets the ball. It's a pity he had to crash that away because we really could have done with keeping the ball. Billy Pollock, for some reason, now is being pulled back with the wide man when he should be in the front of the defensive line. The defender should be pushing out. Carl's got no one. Richard's got no one. There's a lot of hand waving, but nothing happening. Eventually, Billy comes to the right man, but Carl still has no one. And this is where the overload's coming from. We can't have 2 men in the centre of our defence not marking. It just won't work. Easy pickings for the Australians. We're so deep. Keith covers across nicely. Carl needs to get much closer to this guy so he has no chance of doing anything. He's too far back. Good ball in. They should really have done much better from there. Timmy's a bit unlucky that the deflection goes up into the Australian forward and they get a short corner. But this is all coming from our back 4 not marking, Stewardy not directing them as to what they need to do, and constantly pulling back the front line to mark the wrong man, which gives the Australians all the time in the world to cut us apart. Defenders need to mark and everybody else needs to push up. Okay, we're probably going to be a straight shot here. Not a great push out till he gets the shot off. And Keith, well done Keith. Oh, he's very unlucky for that to be awarded another short corner. I don't think he deliberately put it off the back line. He just saw the ball and intercepted it. The Australians are having a long chat here. I wonder if they saw something in the last corner to make them change their tactics. Okay, we've gone back to our usual 2-2. Shot comes in, that seems to come off Stewardy's stick. Great save by Timmy. Stewardy can't get close enough and the shot goes in. So that sort of sums up where we are at the moment. It's the first circle penetration of the half by the Australians. It leads to a short corner, a retake and then a goal. So we just really need to regroup. We need to keep possession and put at least 10 passes together. Budgie's got the ball, draws a few players into him, out of the traffic. Ball comes across to Keith. Stewardy switzers on, easy pass. Ball goes up the line and is intercepted. Good aerial from the Aussies. Carl has to get out here to this man. We talked about defending the circle. We mean to defend the circle, not defend in the circle. We've now got 4 green shirts in there who are doing nothing at all of use. Good play by Roger there, picking up the ball and giving it to Richard. He tries to dribble it out, but the Australian reads the prey and they're off again. Luckily enough, it's mishandled and we get it back. Again, Carl is free here for a little drop-off ball. Doesn't happen. Keith tries to beat the man and loses it. We've plenty of cover here, but we've got the sweeper and centre back not doing anything, not marking. Richard lets his man go, and oh, that's a gilt-edged chance in the far post. That's all because we're not focused on picking up men, and there is no communication. We have two central defenders out there, and neither of them got a touch on the ball. We can't do that. One out, one cover. But we've got to start taking the ball outside the circle, not letting them, not bang on the circle. Pressure's big, Stewardy, another long ball, and again, we're losing possession. We do really, really well to get that back. We're taking the ball from 100% safety and only just keeping possession. Good ball from Richard, out to Budgie, who is fouled yet again. Okay, so what we need to do is suck the Australians into the left and then get the ball out across to the right, where Keith is, but I think he's too wide and he's been a bit. So Fergus, yep, good lead, into the corner, that's it. Now we've got them all sucked in, this has come out and back and round. Okay, Fergus needs to get ready for this. He knows he wants to go round. He needs to open up his body. No, he's closed his body, so now he has to take 3 or 4 extra touches, and eventually he does well to get it out. That's good position to Stewardy, we've got it. And another long pass, and again that's almost picked off. We've got to stop doing that. We're just going to have all kinds of trouble. Here's Keith, a chance, aerial up into the corner, Budgie's there, and he tries to beat the man but wins a long corner. Okay, again Australia are packing this side of the pitch. We can see where the gap is, so as long as we're keeping people in the D channel, there should be plenty of scope for an attack down the left-hand side of the pitch. Ball comes back to Carl, to Roger, and now we're miles from him. There's nobody within 10 or 15 yards in the channel we want. Roger just needs to get his body shape around the ball, plays it out wide, but there's a miscommunication, and chance gone. We have a line ball deep in their 23. Why have we all run away again? We should be pressing this. Who's making these decisions? We've not even managed to cut the pitch here. So now we're all going to have to work really hard and chase absolute meters because we didn't press the ball up in that corner. Fergus is lying far too deep. He needs to be at least as high as Richard. He needs to be much higher up, much higher up. You know, this ball's going to come to him, but yeah, if he's higher up, we have a fast break attack in their half, instead of which we get possession, and all of a sudden, yeah, we got possession, but it's deep in our own half, and we're just playing under pressure round the back, and in fact, we miscontrol it, so we've turned a really good attacking opportunity into Australian ball. Okay. Yeah, lots of time to reorganise, but somehow the Australian gets first call in this aerial. Good push pass, Carl can't get to it. Stewardy's there. No idea what Stewardy's doing. He had plenty of passing options. And that looks like a really simple, silly short corner given away. Oh, but the umpire has seen something that I haven't. And he's carded the Australian. Okay. So now they're a player short again. We just need to get into our nice 3x3 formation and make some passes. Yeah. Keep the ball. They're a man short for 2 minutes. Just work the ball. Players work. Get yourself free. Here, just keep the ball. And 2 passes, and we've lost the ball. And they're on the attack again. Richard is neither marking the top of the D space or anybody. He needs to figure out what he's doing. Balls round the back. Everybody needs to get higher. Everybody should be pushing up. If we all pushed up, we could cut off this diagonal ball and put real pressure on the ball carrier. We don't. Fergus far too deep, giving this guy all the time in the world to attack us. And then Fergus comes in and tackles Roger's man and takes himself out of the game. Very lucky that they are penalised for hitting the ball in. We've got to stick to our tasks, and we've got to know what we're going to do. Okay, so round the back again, ball to Stewart. Again, just keep the ball moving, keep the ball working. Ball comes across to Roger. That's good. Now, Carl should have known he wanted to go right and taken that in his right foot and turned round. But nevertheless, we get the ball into the gap here. But everybody's run away from Richard. Nobody's coming to him for a little layoff 1-2 pass. So he's had to go back and round. Ball comes out to Fergus. Plenty of space. But again, nobody's leading into the channels we want to be into. And big long ball off the end of the pitch it goes. Another line ball deep in the Australian 23, and we all back off again. Same approach as before, and hardly surprisingly, guess what happens? Oh yes, it's the exact same outcome. So loads more work for everyone. Now, we've got 6 players now heading over to where they have 4. Henry and Fergus don't need to be in there. They need to be in the D channel, ready for this ball coming back. We've got reasonable shape here, but Fergus again is miles too deep. He's playing midfield, not left back. He needs to push right up. Keith hadn't pressed up on his player this time, so we got the ball out, but back round it goes. Now we can regroup, we can apply the pressure. But where on earth is our midfield gone? Our Fergus has disappeared. He's not even in the picture. We're never going to get this W to work if we don't press up. Now he's hit a ball exactly to where Fergus should have been. And Fergus... oh, he's playing sweeper alongside our sweeper. And just easy ball. All the wrong body shape from Fergus. He's going to get stuffed into the circle. And we are so lucky that Richard was there to pick that up. Out to Henry. Henry's got the ball now. Got a chance to get the ball moving. And now we get it round the back. The further Fergus drops, the easier it is for the Australians to attack us. We've got to push up. We've got to push up the pitch. We've got to cut those gaps and force them to do something creative. Ball round the back again. And unfortunately it's mishandled and the Australians are off on the rampage again. Ball into the channel. Roger's got all the wrong shape. He's just absolutely gifted the pass in there. And we are so lucky to get away with that. Far too easy. You cannot, as the left back, allow that channel into the corner for the guy to run onto. Got to get our body shape right so that pass is never on. Oh. Oh, we're off again. Roger's got the ball. Another long pass, doesn't make its target. And again, the Australians are coming at us. The Australians are moving the ball back and around. Okay, so we're all dropping. We're miles off anybody here. Ball comes back. Fergus and Eddie are a million miles away from the Australians. Look at the space he's got. There's no one there. What are they doing? Look at Fergus. He's in the 25 with no one. While meanwhile, the Australians are knocking the ball around with no pressure, tiring out 2 or 3 people who are running around trying to catch their tails, basically, all because people at the back aren't marking and pushing people out. Again, Fergus is 25, 30 metres off the player here. No pressure on the ball. With 3 green shirts not marking anyone. And it's not surprising. They've got plenty of space to play the ball into. Lucky enough for us, they decide to crash the ball into the circle. And they turn over the ball. Free to us. Not sure what Stewart doing here. Has a big swish, misses it. Surprised that wasn't given as a free. Hits the Australian's foot. We get another free. She tries another pass to someone who's static, and the Australian intercepts it. The really good news is that's the end of the quarter. We lost our way in that period. Players were far too far away from each other, forcing longer passes, which in the main were unsuccessful. The support work wasn't there, and we didn't defend from the front. We had 1 circle penetration at the start of the quarter, and then Australia had 6 circle penetrations and a short corner which they scored. This is a fair reflection of our performance in that quarter. So we're off for the final quarter. Again, we attempt a long pass into traffic, and Australia picks it. And he does well to recover the possession and moves it away from traffic. A very weak pass from Charlie, and another weak pass from Billy. Giving the ball to Stewardy. Stewardy decides to crash it, and unsurprisingly, we've lost possession again. It's going to be a very long quarter if we keep giving away the ball like this. In this next phase of play, Eddie is too deep and too wide. Budgie's doing his best to get Eddie up into the line, but he's reluctant to move up and in. The front line is 5 metres too deep. Andy needs to get into the gap between Henry and Budgie. And we can see that all developing here, making it really, really easy for the Australians to move the ball back and forth. You can see Eddie's going too deep. Charlie's going too high. And the Australians very cleverly clear Keith out of the left channel. There's no handover at the back, no communication. Neither Carl nor Billy D are marking. And as the ball goes up, Stewardy hasn't reacted. And all of a sudden, the Australia have lots and lots of time to play in. Stewardy needs to be talking to Richard and his defenders to stop that happening. Circle penetration. And luckily for us, a poor piece of play by the Australians give us back the ball. Okay, head out here. Carl's disappeared. Billy D's nowhere to be seen, so he's no choice but to play it into a tight area. Andy tries to create a bit of space. Finds Carl. But again, we're all standing on top of each other. We don't have that lovely option pass scenario we've talked about. Carl now doesn't know what to do and is very, very lucky to get away and get a head out. At least this time Stewardy's actually looking as he's bringing the ball out to see what he wants to do. Nice ball into Richard. Richard gets it to Carl, and all of a sudden there's plenty of space. If we just make those nice short sharp passes, it's a lot easier for us. Now we've got some chance to apply a bit of pressure. Ball's left. Self pass into the 23. Lovely play. Wins a free. That's much more like it. Now we've got the ball in there, 23. This is the chance for some rolled up pressure. Use our skills. Keith on the mazy dribble. Keeping the ball. Yep. Back to Andy. Andy, unfortunate here. Looks up. Unfortunately, pass it straight onto the Australian defender's stick, and it's cleared. But that was better. A couple of nice little short, sharp passes at the back, and all of a sudden, everything opens up. So here, it's good. We're looking to move the Australians out. We start to play the ball across. Good lead by Richard. Dummies, takes it back to the right. This is good. Okay, but Carl needs to keep moving now. He needs to go forward. He's gone very, very static. He gives a tight ball to Keith. Carl needs to drop back to support him, but he doesn't. And Keith does extremely well to get through. Goes for an aerial dink, which doesn't work. And the Australians have the ball back again. But good pressure here forces the Australian back. And this is what we want to see. As the ball goes here, Budgie needs to come in from our left with open side stick, but he comes in straight and with a raised stick. Easy clearance. As we're all spread out now, there's plenty of room for the Australians to tack through. Richard and Charlie get back to help out. This looks like a poor pass, but somehow the Australians keep in play. At this stage, we don't seem to have any kind of a forward line at all. Carl's not picked up anyone, so when this ball goes back and forth, there are 5 Australians and 2 Irish players involved. If you watch this for 20-30 seconds, you'll see we've got 2 men running across and there's 5 yellow shirts. Where are the rest of our players? We've got 8v5 upfield, which means at least 2 of them are not doing anything to contribute towards this game. We're under pressure because we're inviting the pressure. The front line needs to be up in their half, putting pressure on these easy passes. Again, we've no one in their half. They've 3 players back. We should have at least 2 in there. And even the players upfield are not being marked tightly. We've got so many men back there, we should be able to mark anybody, but we can't. So they're just having fun with us here. They're just playing around because there's no pressure. Now they get bored. We hit it our man, and we can't get control of that. Charlie needs to go back and help Stewarty here. He goes for the ball, doesn't make it. Great touch from the Australian, takes Stewarty out of the play. Keith comes across, and we're extremely lucky that the Australian kicks it. The Australians backed off Richard a little bit. That pass has to come with far more pace than that to give him a chance. Richard's drawing Australians in, and that gives us the opportunity to play it around. Again, into the middle, sucks a few Australians in. Stewarty is so obvious where this is going, makes it easy. Billy Dowie looks up, nobody's made a lead outside. He's extremely fortunate to win a free there. Nobody's leading. We're not in our 3-by-3 formation, and we're all moving away from the ball. We're spread out far and wide. If Andy was to come to this ball, he'd be on, but he doesn't. He stands still. Richard's forced to try and hit a long ball, and yet again, I don't know how that's got through. 2 Australians have mishandled that. Great tackle from the Australian coming back. And he gets the ball in play, trying to make something happen. They weren't 5, so he gets to take it again. Gets it to Henry. Henry lays it off, and Andy's off again, wins another free. So at least we're making them think here. Andy's really trying to make something happen. He's off again, realises it's a bit tight in there, but can see the opportunity, and he spreads out the play. However, no one comes to help Billy Dowie, and he tries the long pass. We're very lucky that gets through. Ball to Charlie. This got to go immediately to Budgie, doesn't, and Budgie brings it in, has a look, smashes it in. Yeah, maybe there was a call, but, you know, those things rarely come off. We need to be much more controlled. Okay, so we've got plenty of time to get ourselves set up here. The original line looks quite good, but I'm a bit worried that I can't see any of our midfielders at all. So I can see 5 Australians, 3 Irishmen, and not a single Irish midfielder in the thing. Horrible pass. Fergus has got it. We've got a 6-on-4 break here. Pass is slow and behind Richard, who miscontrols it, and the ball goes away onto the far side. I think Richard is penalised for that. Good working back by Henry, gets himself in position early on. Budgie gets in there too. We've got a good front line again. We're missing the inside left. They miss-hit the ball, and Billy gets a chance. Fortunately, can't control it. And we're playing it around. And we have an extra man at this stage. We really should be making this count. Yeah, Australian's about to get sent off for that. Deliberate feat. That's good. So off we go. Get the ball moving. He has to get off the pitch. We don't have to wait for him. Keep the play going. Good, Carl. Drive into the space. Make them come to you. Force something to happen. Charlie's gone too wide, so now he can't attack the circle. He has to stop and figure out. He's got to keep the ball in the end of his stick, because if he doesn't, that's what's going to happen. You must keep the ball in the end of your stick. Oh, and it's very good. The Australian gives it back to us. We're now spread far and wide all over the place, and yet another long ball results in turnover. We need to learn how to retain possession. They've got that player sent off for a yellow. Come on, just win a free. That's good. Now get the ball out of there. Get the ball out of there. Oh, Richard's not allowed to take the quick free. But we get the opportunity to pass the ball around. We're a bit narrower here up front, which is good, but maybe a bit spread out. Stewarty hits a long ball. I think that's one of the only successful ones. Keith's far too wide. He should be in the inside channel, really attacking the circle there from early doors. That would be a short corner normally. Given a free, but because the defenders don't back off, we get a short corner, but not for the tackle. we get it for them not being 5. It was the end of the first half since we last had one of these. So let's hope everyone has agreed their roles. It'll be simple, out to the top, and a straight shot. So you get a bit upset with Keith there, but all you do is putting some water on the pitch, which is drying out. Good ball out to the top. Not sure where Stuart Egner's going, but it doesn't matter. Richard scores anyway. It's nice to get a goal back. It shows that we can score against sides like this. If only we'd kept it a wee bit tighter at the back, we could have made it a bit more competitive. But it's nice to get a goal. So the Australians keeping the ball again. We're getting a little bit more pressure. We've got 3 men starting to come up the pitch. That's good across by Billy. Just need to get the wider right man higher to cut off the pitch. Would have been better. Yep, ball's gone there where we didn't want it to go because we're too deep. Got to get a bit higher. Good thinking from Billy. He's got the right line, gets in there, gets a touch. And now Budgie just needs to put his stick on the ground and wait. He dives in. Easy meat for the Australian. But that kind of passage is what we're looking for. We had a much better line on the W at the front there, and they played a casual pass, which we got. Great work from Charlie there to get back in, force the ball backward. Billy had come back quicker. He could have cut the pitch, instead of which the transfer has been allowed to happen. Got them trapped on the left side of the pitch. We don't need everybody over there. Again, we just need to keep our players in the right zone. Force the ball back and around. That's good. Billy's got a great position. We're forced it again. Charlie's too deep. All he has to do is be in that space, and he's got an easy pick off. Carl here sprinting to get off the pitch, not watching the game. Brendan passes him the ball, and he's not ready to take it. Carl could have anticipated that something like that might have happened. Australia's got a chance now to punish us for that, but they push the ball off the pitch and we get the ball back. As this ball goes across the back here and it gets to Fergus, it's clear his number one option is to the right wing. He should be picking this up in front with his right foot forward, facing his own goal so he can lay the ball off. He's very, very lucky to keep possession there. Real battle. He could have, facing the right way, he could have just laid that off very easily. Oh, we just don't seem to want to learn, do we? Another long pass is unsuccessful. Back comes Australia. This is good covering work crossed by Billy Pollock, forcing the Australians backward. Unfortunately, Stewart not got high enough. He's too deep. And that allows the ball to go to the wide man. And now they're in behind the front 3 again. That's not a great ball from the Australians. Well covered by Stuart Egner. He could drop that off to Billy Dowie now, instead of which he pushes it into traffic and they get the ball back. And round the back it goes. Got a good shape here. Andy's got the right position. We've got a lovely front. Charlie's almost in the right place as well. They're under pressure here. This is good. This is much better. Okay, Andy and Budgie are advancing. Sturdy needs to come with them, but he doesn't. He needed to come with them. He must get up there. Crash ball straight to Charlie. Oh, who just can't control it. But that's what we're looking for again. Fergus needs to hold the guy up. Instead, he goes for the tackle, takes Charlie out of the play. Circle penetration. Well done, Brendan. Gets there. And a good clearance by Timmy. This stage, we're all walking. The Australians are running. Charlie has left the most dangerous man alone, and he's not between him and the ball. We've got to really, really concentrate on what we're doing here. And Brendan gets into a good shape there. He's got his left foot forward, but he needs to get his feet off the pitch and get that shape so that if he does make contact with the ball, it goes over the sideline, not the goal line. The Australian forward played for that, and Brendan obliged. Carl's off, so Roger comes in. Australians seem to have a lot of people up this time. Looks like we've run 3-1 again. Timmy's come out high. Great stick save. Ireland's time to get set up. Okay. So we've got plenty of people here, and the Australians play it back. Up come the front line, and Charlie, but nobody else. Why are we all standing in our own 23? Nobody's coming up with the play. Play gets spread. It's impossible to cover the gaps if you leave such big gaps. We're doing a lot of hard work up there, putting them under real pressure, but we're not being helped by the fact that half the team is still encamped in our own half. If you put pressure on them, they give us the ball like that. Every time we've pressed them up there, they've given us the ball. Interesting 1-2 with Keith there. Wide man's free. Not sure what Roger was trying to do there. Almost every time we've hit the ball today, we may as well have just walked away and given it to them. This front three seem to be working quite well together. They're pushing up, they're putting pressure on the Australians, which is what we'd like to see. I think the Australians are just toying with us a little bit at this stage, but at least by getting the front line right, we put them under significant pressure. And that is the end of the final.